Hi everyone, welcome to GMOranger's channel. In this video, I would like to show you guys some of the opening tricks and traps in the Italian Gambit, which is also called as the Koltanowski Gambit. Well, e4, e5 is an opening which is extremely solid and a tough nut to crack, certainly. And this specific idea was taught to me by one of my own students. Well, he showed me the initial idea, and I later developed this into a complete playable repertoire line. Well, bishop c4, bishop c5, and d4 is the starting point of our video today. Well, to be precise, I generally follow generally like what top players play, which is more with c3, d3, more conservative approach, which are generally the uh, precise way to really put pressure on black, which is commonly adopted by top players. Once in a while, ideas like d4, which is a gambit idea, is definitely playable, and also like to surprise our opponent. These kind of ideas can be really useful, and especially if your opponent is not ready for this, it can be a real surprise. I found several interesting plans and ideas for white in this line, and I would like to share this with you in this video. Okay, so to begin with, the options for black in this position. Black can either capture it with the pawn or the bishop or the knight. Generally, it's accepted that capturing it with the bishop is the most precise way to continue. As knight takes d4, I think the generally accepted line is knight e5 followed by queen e7, and here yeah, bishop takes f7 followed by bishop g8 followed by knight g4 and knight e3. Yeah, followed by short castle, and I think white has a reasonable position. This is generally accepted, I guess. Apart from this, I also found a very interesting idea after knight takes d4. Well, obviously I didn't find this, and certainly with the help of the engines. The engines were screaming to play b4 in this position, which is like really surprising. b4, obviously bishop takes b4, and c3, white will most probably end up winning material at this point, because knight takes f3, queen takes f3, it's a double attack basically on the bishop as well as the pawn on f7. Basically, I'm threatening checkmate here. And bishop b6, there are some interesting ideas here, starting with a4, a5, knight to e5, queen e7, followed by bishop f7, king f8, and the lines were like completely crazy. So I'll leave this to you guys to check it out and see how it goes. But yeah, this is certainly an interesting idea for the white players, and well, if you are like a player who is completely fine to going into completely chaotic positions, this might be a interesting idea for you guys. But otherwise, like knight e5 remains as a completely good option for white. And e takes d4. Okay, usually this transposes back to short castle, which is one way to go. I made an earlier video on this one. I suggested black players to continue with d6 at this point. And yeah, check it out, those who haven't seen it. And I think it's called as the Scotch Gambit. And else, white players can always transpose it back to the main lines with c3. Retaining extra options like c takes d4 is one of the main lines, and e5 is another option that white players can play. So this is one way to go. Now, bishop takes d4 as our main line here. White continues with natural follow-up here. Knight takes d4, knight takes d4, short castle. And black continues with natural development, knight f6. Here, white players have played two interesting ideas. One is to go with bishop to g5. The other one with f4. Both these lines have some dangerous ideas. Let's start with bishop g5. Here, this is the idea that was shown to me by my student. He was like super fascinated with this, and he showed me this one. And g5 is met with an amazing idea, f4. And g takes f4 is met with rook takes f4. And not to forget, like let's say pawn takes bishop is going to be met with f takes e5. which means the knight on d4 is under attack, the knight on f6 is under attack, there is also pressure mounting on the f7 pawn. Suddenly it becomes an extremely dangerous position for the black players. So g takes f4 and rook takes f4, e takes f4, queen takes d4, and yeah, the f6 knight is under attack and bishop takes f6 to trap the queen as well as catch the rook as well. So apparently black tries short castle, which is basically met with bishop takes f6 followed by bishop h8, and suddenly like black is just getting checkmated there. Almost like unstoppable checkmate on g7. And yeah, this is a fascinating idea for the white players certainly. But apparently bishop g5. I think it's a common knowledge that black players should not play at 6 g5. But okay, still there are people out there who might not know this. So this might be a reasonable idea. But d6 is the critical test. And here, yeah, usually white goes f4, which is met with bishop e6. And I think even here, yeah, I think the natural reaction is knight a3. There are some tricks here as well. Well, one of the games continued in this position went with h6 in this position, which is met with f takes e5, d takes e5, bishop f6, g f6, c3 followed by, and yeah, bishop c4 is met with knight c4 followed by queen b3, preparing for knight e3. When I analyze this position, this is a common occurrence. Like very often, white will be a pawn down, but black will end up with this double pawns, and white might be able to bring his knight to e3 with the idea of knight d5 and knight f5, maintaining the grip. In some positions, yeah, the computer preferred white heavily, and in some positions, computer was favoring the black side. But overall, if you guys think about it in a practical game, like, I mean, definitely white seems to be like having some sort of advantage, definitely. Some practical chances definitely exist in these kind of positions. And apart from this, d6, f4, bishop e6, knight a3. I think there is one more game that went with queen e7 at this point. And after c3, black player went bishop c4, knight c4. And once again, very similar position. Bishop f6, gf6, knight e3, c6, followed by knight f5. And here, black just simply got crushed in the game. Like 16 moves and suddenly like black is in a completely losing position. So again, after d6, f4, bishop e6, knight a3. Yeah, apparently queen e7 followed by knight c6 seems to be the most viable option here. But I don't really see like why white should be really worse here. Like I'm sure like white seems to have a very good position with them threatening knight e3, knight d5 kind of ideas, and seems completely possible to play from the white's perspective. In fact, if I'm given a choice, I would even choose white here. So bishop g5 is certainly a very interesting idea, but apart from this, f4 is considered as the main. And here, once again, d6 is the main option. Recently, once again, a couple of weeks back, one of my students showed me this game, knight c6, and his opponent fell for this trick. He went with bishop and f7, king takes f7, and f takes e5, and yeah, knight takes e5 was met with queen d5. And apparently, yeah, this is a position that is like extremely dangerous for black. Like white's attack is automatically playing by itself. Like, okay, rook f6, bishop f6, whatnot here. And yeah, knight c6 is also considered as a mistake, which is generally, yeah, met with bishop and f7, which is something that white players should remember. d6 is the correct way to continue in this position for black. And after f takes e5, d takes e5, bishop g5, and here we are left with a few options. Black players have tried queen e7, which is one way to go, and bishop e6 is another way to go. I think apart from this, there are other options as well, but these moves have been like considered as the main tries for black as well. And here, bishop e6. I found a recent game which was played by Gukesh, who became a grandmaster, youngest grandmaster. He beat a quite strong grandmaster with this idea: knight a3 followed by c3, bishop c4, bishop f6, gf6, knight c4. The same position, pretty much the same position which I was talking with you guys earlier. Yeah, this is a common occurrence. Like again, the computer prefers slightly for black in this position, but I see like no real plans in this position for black. Like I think white certainly has some chances, and this was proven in this game as well. Like yeah, Gukesh went on to win against a strong grandmaster, and yeah, the game went like this, sacrificing the second pawn, and somewhere here white develops quite strong counterplay. And yeah, he went on to win in another few moves in this line. So bishop e6, knight a3 followed by c3 is a excellent option for white players if you are planning to play this line. And finally, bishop g5, queen e7. And here, yeah, I think the main moves are knight to a3 and c3 in this position. I found one more interesting idea with knight c3. Again, in this position as well, I'm not saying this is advantage for white, definitely. But if black players don't know how to handle this, definitely white can keep a lot of pressure on black. But if black players know it, white can achieve only a reasonable position, but definitely a playable position. I won't say like white is lost or anything. So you guys can definitely try this out once in a while as a surprise weapon. So knight c3, and yeah, here I think the critical test is to go with either bishop to e6 or c6 in this position. And I think there are a few games that went with queen c5, because the whole point of queen e7 is to prepare for queen c5, which is threatening the bishop as well as the king. And white doesn't seem to care about this threat, and he is continuing his own ideas of going out for knight d5. So queen c5 is met with, once again, another amazing blow, bishop into f7 followed by queen h5. And here I found like a couple of games here that continued with king e6 followed by bishop f6, pawn takes, knight d5. And white was ruthlessly attacking with rook f6 followed by queen e8 check followed by queen e7. And yeah, I think the checkmate should not be very far away from here. Yeah, the game was over. This was a fantastic attacking idea. And again, after bishop and f7, I believe the game should be more or less lost for black. Yeah, and finally, the most precise way to continue for black, either c6 or bishop e6 in these positions. Both the moves are reasonable for black. Yeah, I think bishop f6 followed by knight d5. Well, if we have a knight on e3, I would say like the position was reasonable to play for white side. But just with the bishop, I think we don't have much chances. But yeah, computer certainly prefers black in these kind of positions. But I believe like white should have some practical chances as well. So this is the best that white got. And yeah, if you're able to find better than this, then definitely you can try this out. And apart from bishop e6, c6 is one more reasonable way for the black players, which is, yeah, this is how the lines go. And after this, I believe like after knight d1, knight e3, once again, this is the position that we generally aim for. After knight e3, we'll kick the knight on d4 with c3, and white achieves a reasonable position. So overall, if we think bishop c4 followed by d4, it's definitely a playable option, a completely playable option for the white players. Try it out and let me know in the comment section how these lines are shaping up for you guys in practical games. And let me know your questions in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer. And I'll see you all in another video then. Thank you.